This is how I made over $100,000 in Singapore by the age of 21 years old.
Good morning, everyone. Just done my 2 kilometers run. I've taken a look at the markets for today. There isn't really anything that is shaping up. So Cat Yen, we're still on the short. Maybe I will do a video on risk management, where certain weeks, typically week 1 of each month, I do a downsize of risk. But yeah, then tonight, which is Tuesday night reviews, right after New York, that's when I'll be doing a review of the certain pairs that are more corrective or they're just taking a little bit longer, and see if I can add it to my watch list.
This Cat Yen position isn't getting anywhere right now, but Asian's gonna open and I'm bored. So since I'm bored and everyone likes money, let's talk about money. So today I do want to talk about how I earned and saved about $100,000, over $100,000 by 21 years old. Before I start, I do want to let everyone know that what I did was out of sheer hard work. There are easier ways to make money, and maybe some of it is out of business ideas. So I hope that all I'm trying to say is what I earned is really out of hard work and by number of hours, not I didn't come lucky with it, and really no life at all, whereby my typical shifts were really 9 to 10 on weekends, and on weekdays after my poly class at 3, I might just skip class to be back at 4 and work from 4 to 10. After that, I would tend to a customer house visit, do some plumbing or electrical work, and all these cumulative days actually added up to a huge bulk of money. And bear in mind that in a calendar year, I probably took only 7 days off. The other days I was working whilst in school, and on weekends clocking 12 hours because OT adds up. Yeah, I was really that hardworking. These days I'm no longer as hardworking. The other point I do want to say is that I actually limited my spendings up to 21-ish. So what I did was, because I was paid daily cash, so what I did was to actually set aside $300 a month, and that means that $10 a day. And based on that spendings, so everything that I collect cash, I would actually save it aside every night. Every night I would put it in a stack of $2 or $5, $10, and just put it neatly. And before I knew it, maybe every year I would have a big stack of $2. And I still remember the first time that I actually went to buy an iPhone XR out of $2 notes, and the customer service at M1 was looking at me like, okay, this kid saved money, that's great. But yeah, my point is that I limited my spendings a lot. At that time I was too young to know about long-term investing, so I didn't really play around with my money. I just saved it aside. And one of the best moments was buying that phone, the first phone that I bought for myself, and the other one was buying a piece of land for my mother by 18 years old, I think. Yeah, I bought her a piece of land in Myanmar. That was just about 20,000-ish. But yeah, it felt great that I could do something at that age. So let's dive right into it. The year was 2017. I was 16 years old. So I had just done my O-levels, and that was in November. So I'm just going to be working with averages here because I do have my old spreadsheet, but we're just going to do an average. But I'm pretty sure this is an undercut of what I did earn. So, and we're going to be doing calendar years and 6 hours, because that thereabouts it spreads out to around 6 hours a day. There's also OT pay that I did not account for, but we'll see. So we've got 16 years old, November. There's about 1 month-ish to the end of the year. I didn't get much shifts, so that's about like 4 hours a day for about 30 days at $7 an hour. That was $840. That was at 16 years old. And then at 2018, so this is the year that I was going into poly in April. So up to then, I was actually very, very free. But again, we're just going to work with averages, because some days I did clock 4 hours, some days I did clock 6 hours. But 2018, I was 17 years old, waiting for poly in April. We're making at $10 per hour. That was like 2 months with like $8 per hour. But like after that, I got to $10 an hour. And then that was for about 6 hours, 365 days. That equals to 21,900. And then in 2019, 18 years old, that was at about $12 an hour. Again, 6 hours, 365. So you can see that I really did not take off days, which was quite a good thing actually. I didn't waste my time playing much games. I mean, even if I did, then I would have stayed up that night. Then came 2020, which is the magical year, because this time it wasn't only income that supplied into my savings, but also a business idea, and that was basically just making use of the COVID period. And this required a little bit of forethinking, and that's because one of the news reports earlier, so I think COVID happening in November, December, right? And by February there were news in Taiwan, and before the lockdown, I had a thought, and I think Singapore was a little bit panicky already. I managed to call my dad, who was in Myanmar at that point of time, asked him to source masks. I went around Singapore trying to look for masks, but that wasn't possible. I also went around to Thailand. I flew to Thailand to get thermometers, a bunch of them. I also got hand sanitizers. I brought them by plane on my own on a 2-day trip. I still remember I went to Krabi, I believe, and I managed to go to the pharmacies near there, and I brought it back. I also went to Myanmar to collect the mask. So yeah, there were also alcohol bottles, wiping alcohol as well. But yeah, anyway, so the whole of 2020, that was the money-making year. So I was 19 years old, and that $14 an hour at that year, 6 hours, 365 days, 30,660. And then we've got the mask. We're just going to do it COVID medical supplies. So this one, I did take a 50% profit split with the person I was working with at that point of time. Essentially, I did make about $40,000, and I presume my cost was 10% of it, $39,600 in profit. So that was the mask time. And then there was also a company that I started. That was a supplying business. So in the supplying business, I just buy from the big supplier to me, and then I sell it back to small shops. Typically, I did household supplies. The big supplies, it could be like a local supplier, just simple things like lights and electrical components. Then there were some others whom I took from China. It's like Alibaba. Then I just brought them in bulk, and that requires a lot of spending power. I don't recommend anyone to do it, because it's like maybe you get it for like 5,000 pieces, 1,000 pieces, and you have to sell them out, otherwise then your cost is still in there, unless you have a very profitable business. In this supplying business, it wasn't much, but it's, again, everything is cumulative. So that when I did my taxes for the year, I realized it was $36,000 in revenue. Again, this is revenue, and realistically, I'm a middleman. I don't earn much from it. That's about a 20% cut, and 20% cut, that gives me $7,200 a year in profit. And then we did it for 2 years, so that was about $14,400 in that particular idea. Now there are other things that I've tried before. I did do Lazada, whereby I just sell the same thing that I brought in, and that did make money, but I wasn't so active on it. It's a decent business, but I wouldn't just solely focus on it. Neither do I have the time or the tidiness to go and do every single product upload. The other thing was, there's one more thing. So in all this time, right, I've actually done the math, because I've collected over $15,000 just from handyman work. By handyman, I mean I'm plumber, electrician, doing drilling work. So I was pretty handy. So because I worked in a hardware shop, then customers would come by, they buy the product, and then I would go tend to them at the after hours of work. It could be like a tap, it could be like an electrical socket, and they hire me. Maybe because I'm nice, maybe because I charge lower, maybe because it's just an after sales service and there's a affiliation to the company. But that was great because it's a very high paying job per hour. But if you don't have, you know, a constant supply of customers, then you're not going to make money out of it. But basically, I've tended to over, I would guess, 250 homes, but let's just round it down to 200 homes, and I collected about $50 per house on average, because some houses I did do for just $15, $20, some houses were $100 over. There could be a series of things. One of the houses I remember very significantly, actually it was quite recent, so they were doing a renovation work, and when they actually went to the renovations for a quote, I think the renovators quoted them $3,000 over for painting, for removal of an automatic laundry rack, installation of heater, installation of ceiling lights, replacement of certain things, and painting the whole house. But basically, the profit I closed was $1,000 after paying the people I needed to pay. So I got myself, my friend, and 2 other foreign workers whom I just happened to outsource, paid them about $150 each to paint the house, and in total I billed the house owners about $1,600. So they're saving money, and mind you, I'm actually a very good follow-up person, so I did a total of like 7 or 8 visits to the house. Most of the work, you know, other than the painting, everything else, my friend and I, we did it, whereby we installed the heater, the lights, and did the removal of the laundry rack. I think the numbers roughly come to about, I charged them $1,600 and paid the 2 workers about $300, and then my friend $300. I took the $1,000 for licensing everything. Yeah, but that was handyman. That was that one time where I did like more of a reno work. In general, 200 houses, and that's $50 per house. I made definitely more than $10,000 in total just from handyman. And the best part about handyman is it really doesn't require a lot of time. There could be some times where you hit a snag, you can't fix it within an hour, or you might end up asking someone else for help. But most of the time, my jobs, I did it within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and I was paid $30, $40, $50, $60. And if it was a heater job, it would take slightly longer. It could be an hour and a half. I was paid about $80, $120. So it really depends on the case and the person that I'm dealing with and whether they're a returning customer or not. But all in all, that was great. And I managed to do 200 homes. It wasn't because of, you know, I did get the supply of customers because I was working in a shop, but it was more of the returning customers, the recommendations that they did to one another. It could be a brother or sister. People in Sembawang just ended up knowing me, and they actually asked for me, and that was great. That was really just through word of mouth. They know that I was charging less and I still do a good job or better. And I always stay easily 5-10 minutes for follow-up questions, whereby I don't just fix your thing. I actually listen to other problems in the house. It could be you want to do a pet mesh, you want to ask an idea how to install an IKEA rack. I'll give you my experience of how I did my rack. I'll give you an experience of how I did my painting. Other people I know that can help you do certain other jobs. All in all, people just came back to me because of my service. To be fair, when they first came to the shop, you know, because I sell the item as well, and I get to at least talk to them for a good 5-10 minutes, and I get to judge them if they're nice or not. Typically, I hate people who are picky about certain things or not happy with a certain way I do. Just petty people. So I avoided them all, and I've just picked the nice ones. Whoever that I didn't like, I sold them the item, but I outsourced it to an outside plumber. So I picked the best customers that I could, and they were very nice to actually call me again and again and again. Most of the time, you know, I always end up with a free drink. That's very nice of them. Or when they do pass by the shop, sometimes they would offer me free meals. Some of them actually even take me out to lunches as well. That's actually quite nice. But all in all, you can see that the numbers here, we've got 10K over here. Over here we've got about 60, 70K. We got 40K here, and then we've got about 14K here. So I'm sure that adds up to 100K. But yeah, this is how I made over $100,000 in Singapore by the age of 21 years old. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and These days, money is a lot easier to make, and I hope you do something with your time.